It's time for my favorite books of 2015! 2015 was not a very good reading year for me. I didn't push myself to read. I didn't set any goals. I didn't really make time for reading. I'm not sure if I regret it, but I do know that I tried to make time for other things this year. I definitely accomplished a lot in 2015. Probably my favorite year so far. It is a small list. There's 7 books, but they were my favorite reads and my most defining reads of this year. Like, since I didn't read that many, I really had to kind of be choosy with the books that I put into this list, and I picked the best of the best. In 2016, I definitely want to read more books. I'm going to be a better booktuber than I ever was in the years past. I'm just going to read a lot, and I have been reading a lot. I feel like this is a time. Winter is like my reading time. That's where I get all of my reading done. For some reason, I can't read during the summer anymore. I don't know what happened. I'm going to share these books in like an ascending order, so I'm going to show you like my least favorite of my favorites first, and then I'm going to end with like my most favorite reads of the year, okay? This first book I read back in July, and it is Alive by Scott Sigler. I got sent an arc of this like way back in February, I think, but I didn't actually read it until July, and like I did a whole promotion thing for Scott, and it's kind of like one of those like blessings where like you read a book and you love it, but like you're also promoting it. I actually really like truly love this book this year. It was super action packed. It feels like Maze Runner. I've never actually read Maze Runner, but like I've seen the movie, so it kind of feels like that, but like better, and like the characters are more fun and you kind of get to know them a little better. Definitely not the most like impactful read, but it was really fun and like mysterious and suspenseful. I actually had a hand in picking out the third cover for the third book in the Generations trilogy. It goes Alive, Alight, and then Alone. So I got to choose the colors for Alone, so I have a hand in the trilogy. Thanks, Scott. Go check it out. All of the books will be linked down below in the doobly-doo. I don't have the physical book with me because I lent it out like February, and I still haven't got back from my coworker. In fact, I'm gonna go text her after this and tell her to bring it to work tomorrow because I'm sick of not having it. And it's Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. So many people in their like favorite books of 2015 have put Colleen Hoover into their favorites, and I can totally understand why. I loved Ugly Love. I definitely read a lot of new adult books, but I kept comparing them to Ugly Love because Ugly Love is like way up there. Like, it's so good for a new adult book. If you like new adult, or you want to try something that's like more mature than like, you know, your regular young adult contemporary, try Colleen Hoover. Ugly Love is kind of mature, so like if you're underage, like, I wouldn't read it because there's lots of like sexual situations. I don't want my young viewers to read that, okay? Okay, thanks. I do want to read more of her books this year. I want to read November 9 because Christine loved that book this year. I feel like if I just keep reading Colleen Hoover, like I'm going to want to keep reading her. So I'm just like slowly reading them so I can savor her writing. Next on my list is a well-loved book this year by many people. Maybe like my top favorite, but there's other books that I wanted to put before this. But it is A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. It's Moss, right? Mass? No, it's Mass. Crap, I forget what she said in Jessie's interview. I read this in May, and it was during a time where I hadn't been reading for a really long stretch of time. I remember we found this like really early in Barnes & Noble, and I heard like it was verging on new adult. I like new adult, and I like retelling because this is like a retelling of, you know, Beauty and the Beast, and I love fairy tales. Like, oh my gosh, like I love Once Upon a Time, so I could not wait to actually read this, and I devoured this book in May. I forgot how much I love to read, and like how much like you crave to like open up those pages again, and that's what this book did for me. I craved to like dive back into this book. The characters are older, and so I really like that part about it. There's like so much tension between readers and like who they want with the main girl. It's not really a love triangle. I mean, I guess we'll see, but it's Sarah J. Maas. I think it's Mass. This was definitely one of my favorite reads this year, and I can't wait to actually like dive into Throne of Glass. I've only read the first book of that this year. Compared to this one, I like this one better than Throne of Glass. I love this book so much this year. This book I actually just finished reading, and it is Winter by Marissa Meyer. I love the Lunar Chronicles. I put the series into my favorite books of all time last Christmas. I love, you know, the fairy tale retellings, but like they're kind of like twisted. It's like fairy tales and Avengers, and because it's like a big team. You have Cinderella, Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, and then Snow White, but like they all have different names because like the names of the characters are the titles of the book. These covers are beautiful. I love the purple and the red. If you want a good series, read Lunar Chronicles. It's super entertaining, action-packed. Like there's a couple of like slow moments, not like too slow, but you know, it's for pacing, for like the story, so we get some plot in there. I think Marissa Meyer did a fabulous finale. Definitely super satisfying. I can't wait for like the little short story that's coming after it. I didn't want it to end. It was a huge book. Like it's 800 pages. It doesn't look like it because the pages are like super thin. If you still haven't jumped on this bandwagon, do it now because like the hype is still there. This next book is actually making it into my list because I didn't finish it until 2015. So Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I actually read this like New Year's Eve, like today, last year. I was blown away by this book. Okay, I know some of you guys are like rolling your eyes. It's like, Tasha, you only like this book because like you fancy the author. You guys have all seen our interactions. It's all on the internet. But I love his book. I don't think I've talked about his book enough as like I've talked about him. Take Piercia, go away, out of your heads. Don't think about it. Let's think about Red Rising, okay? When I first read it, I was scared that I wasn't going to like it. There are a lot of good reviews on Red Rising, but then there are some people who don't like it because they think that it's not original, which I don't see where they see that. Red Rising takes place on Mars. We follow a suppressed individual. His name is Darrow. There's different classes of people in the society, so we follow Darrow. He's a red. He's the lowest of low. He and his people were sent to Mars to terraform the planet. So it's an inner solar system society, so we don't go outside of our solar system. We follow his journey in becoming the top of the top, which is a gold, and how he infiltrates those people. And his main goal is to have the Reds rise to power, that everyone is equal, okay, so that no one is below somebody and no one has authority over an individual. If you had to ask me why I love this book, like one thing why I love this book, it has to do with the main character. His actions are always unexpected. Darrow never takes a safe option, so you always think like, oh, he's gonna go this way and survive. No, he does something else, and it's totally mind-blowing. If you guys want to read an action-packed book, read Red Rising. So good. All the characters are so well thought out. Like you will find like your favorite quirks in every character that you read. The writing style at the beginning is a little weird. I remember like reading, I think the first chapter or the prologue, and I was kind of confused. It all kind of flows really nicely as soon as like you start getting like around 50 to 100 pages into the book, and then like the end is just, it's great. So please read Red Rising. I would love for you guys to read it. If I haven't already gotten you to read it yet, I will leave the Pierce Brown Chronicles, our videos, in a playlist down below if you want to check that out and you don't know what I'm talking about. My second to last favorite book of the year is Dumplin by Julie Murphy. This is the ARC. I still haven't bought like the real version, and I don't know why. I really need to, but let's just talk about this. I never reviewed this book this year, and I'm mad at myself that I didn't. I read this in August, and I think I like went through it in 2 days. I don't read very fast, so that's pretty fast for me. I've never related to a character more than I have to Dumplin. Her name is Willow Dean, and she is a plus-size girl, and she decides that she wants to enter into her mother's pageant. Now, her mother doesn't like own the pageant, but she basically runs it because she won it like years ago, like 20 years ago. Willow Dean has always had confidence, but she starts getting like some male attention, and she kind of starts doing like some different and crazy things. Like things start changing in her life. The pageant is a super small part of this book. It's mostly about her relationship with her best friend and how like things are getting rocky for once and a lot of things are changing in her life, and then also dealing with a death and also trying to understand this guy's attention that she's like for the first time getting. As a plus size girl, I knew so many of the insecurities that Willow Dean was going through. It was so nice to actually have a character who could put those things on paper and then, you know, make you feel that you're not alone. The most influential book this year because of how it made me feel. It was a wonderful read and I highly recommend it. And I can't wait to read Julie Murphy's other books because I really loved her writing. And for my last but most favorite book of 2015, it has to go to Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. With this book, I got it back in January. I remember I read around 200 pages and then I stopped because I didn't want that to influence my review of Red Rising. And so because I had stopped, I couldn't get myself to read it again. So what I did back in like the beginning of September, before I filmed those videos with Pierce, I audiobooked it so I could start from the beginning. The narrator on the Golden Sun audiobook was fabulous. Oh my gosh, that audiobook is great. That's one of my like biggest recommendations. If you don't have time to read Red Rising, the audiobooks are fabulous. This was like Red Rising, but like on steroids. It was a more mature, faster paced, cutthroat read. Like I couldn't get over like the twists and the turns and the like aha moments and like the gasping moments. Like it was all in this book. Like Golden Sun was everything that you ever wanted in like a sci-fi opera. Star Wars was such a huge thing this year, so I don't know why these books aren't more popular. Like if you love watching the Star Wars movies, like if you're a new fan this year, you know, because The Force Awakens came out, you should really read Red Rising and Golden Sun, because it's like this one is like the more mature version of Red Rising because the characters age. I am so excited for Morning Star. I can't wait to get my hands on the book. I'm gonna get it early. You guys all know this. Like Pierce has already said he's gonna give it to me early, but I've made sure with the publishers. This one felt like the last book in a trilogy. Like this wasn't a middle book. Favorite book of 2015 right here. Please read Red Rising if I haven't already gotten you to read it, because you have to get to Golden Sun. And Morning Star comes out February 9th. Another really exciting thing, I'm going to be hosting the Pierce Brown signing in LA on February 8th at Book Soup on Sunset. So be there. It'll be really fun. Okay. That's it for my favorite books of 2015. Whew. We're done. It wasn't that long of a list. Share with me some of your favorite books of 2015 down below in the comments. If you didn't know, I'm all across the web. I'm all over social media as Tashapolis. So like you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook. I've actually been getting really into Facebook lately. Tashapolis everywhere. Just search it. I have links down below if you want to follow me. Also follow me on my website, The Fantropolis. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting me this year. I appreciate every single one of you. I'm really proud of 2015. Even though I didn't read that much, I did get a lot of things done. Like, I became a vlogger this year. Like, I vlogged a lot, which I'm really proud of. I also did a lot of beauty stuff, which I was really proud of. And I've done some of my favorite videos this year, so I'm happy. I'm happy with 2015. It was a good year. Thank you guys all for watching. I will see you all in the future. Keep calm and fangirl on. Bye! Can't breathe.